really good challenge. Like it's an invitation and a challenge at the same time, which is great. And I like it.
It's a challenge, though.
It can be. It can be. Is it a challenge? It's an invitation, but it's a challenge of saying like, hey, listen, I'm going to really, really bring you into God's presence. Like really
but
get
it's
the
a
embrace.
choice. No, that like it is a choice.
Okay.
God is not a puppeteer.
All right.
He will not make you engage in a relationship with you.
Ah, okay.
He invites.
So
Jesus says, he's the door, right? And I'm knocking. You have the invitation to open the door or not.
Gotcha.
Same with this book. Yep. You have the choice to engage with God in the activities that I lay out or not.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. I just want to see if that's what you're trying to go for. So it's an invitation.
It's an invitation.
Invitation to join you in a journey, and that's going to be...
join me on a journey, getting to know someone I'm only now getting to fully know. I feel like one of the things like in my life is like, and you'll read this in the book, is like you had to come up with a 6-word memoir. 6 words that kind of describe your life.
One of your exercises. Yeah. Yes. I saw that in your preview. Yeah. That's
cool. One of my words was child, because I perpetually feel like a novice in every area of life. Like I've spent way too many years in school getting so many different degrees. And with those degrees and with letters behind your name, there's a certain expectation that comes of like, you know things. And I'm like, I don't like the letters behind my name because the expectation is that I know things.
You become an expert. Oh,
I'm not an expert. Yeah. I am a child who is learning with a father who is beyond gracious and compassionate and tender and loving. And he's been really, really gracious and tender and loving in this process.
And you're continuing to learn through the experiences that you keep living throughout.
Yes. So I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert on adoption. I'm not an expert on theology. I just want to invite you as a child to come and invite you to have a conversation.
That is so unique on its own. Seriously. Like, that is awesome. And you do that with humility, and I appreciate that about you.
Because it's not about me.
Yeah.
My life is not about me. My life is to educate, equip, and empower people to know the Father.
The Father in heaven. No, amen. I just really like that. I know you're trying to, bring it to God, but I just want to make sure that as an author, you show that with humility is what I mean. And here's one of my favorite ones that I wanted to mention when you say, you kind of really alluded to how to use this book really well. That's really great. But the childlike faith, and a lot of people, especially when we become grown-ups and we live life, like I said, I've lived some life with a rough industry, mild trauma and different things. But at the end of the day, you really do need that childlike faith. Like, you just got to know how sovereign and how amazing God is, and that He'll take care of you because He's our Father. He's going to hold us by the hand and continue to.
You have to be willing to trust Him.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. You took the words out of my mouth.
You have and that's a choice.
Yeah.
And I felt like giving people some parameters of knowing how to use the book, because it's a unique book, because I don't know that there's anything out there currently like it.
No, there isn't. That's what I mean. I never heard of anything like it.
With its unique qualities and characteristics, I felt like saying, hey, like, if you're going to read this, you have to be a child. And you have to be okay with that. You have to give yourself permission. I feel like in part of one of those paragraphs, I'm like, say it with me. I give myself permission to be childlike. I give myself permission, because you have to, because we as grown-ups, we I feel like we have imposter syndrome so much of the time, or we've learned to pretend that we know that we're okay with things, and it's our vulnerabilities and we're not okay with putting those on the table and saying okay. And so sometimes when we're revisiting things, we're like, oh, I should have known this. But can you give yourself permission to be fully where you are? Can you give yourself permission to not know things? Are we okay being novices? Because if we're not, I don't think we're ever going to learn anything.
Yeah, then you're never going to grow. Right. You have to start somewhere. You have to start from a foundation. Like, the most humbling thing about graduating culinary school, a lot of people think, oh, I go to culinary school, I'll be a chef. And they're like, no, you start off either washing dishes or right in the beginning of the line, and you earn your rank as you move up. And that's when with your experience, that's how you grow.
I love that, because so it's saying, I hear you saying the culinary school, you have to be willing to serve. And I feel like
Yes.
I heard it said, what is it said? I am blanking.
No, it's okay.
Serve it.
Is it scripture?
No. No, it's not scripture.
Okay.
Lead with the heart of a servant, serve with the heart of a king. I think is what the quote is, and I think it's attributed to Bill Johnson or something like that. But it's the like in the kingdom we serve, like it's servant leadership.
Yes.
And as a child, like just
to serve one another.
To serve one another.
Yeah, and that's
also the humility that comes with that.
Yes, because like you said, if we come in as experts, but we really never have the experiences truly, then why are we, it's like leading the blind in some ways, right?
Yeah,
maybe. I wanted to see if that was something in thought, but yeah, I like this because you're already, without even reading the book, I'm in a journey with you, and I'm really trying to feel that essence, your passion. I'm pushing your passion wheel so we can expose this, and I'm getting it. I'm getting it, and I'm loving it, and that's exactly what I want to see, because this is in your wheelhouse. This is your book. This is something that you felt God calling you to write this, and you're making this open invitation for people to take this book because it has a little bit of devotion, has a little bit of activities and exercises in there, right?
I don't know really what to call it because it's.
I don't know either. That's what I'm trying to say.
Depending on your definition of devotion, like, is it like I would liken it to kind of like what is one of the popular devotionals is Jesus Calling by Sarah Young,
right?
And I was like, is this like that? Not at all,
right? And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I'm just looking at the adjectives of this description. I'm like, okay, I don't even know how to describe this book.
It's a creative guide that leads to Jesus.
Okay,
with lots of, but then I feel like devotion fits
as well, right?
Right,
because that's some of your words and in the descriptions of the adjectives,
right? Because I didn't know better, like. I didn't know a better word. Like there's not a like be between creative guide and devotion. Like
other than a journey, other than an invitation to a journey.
Well, that's what the tagline is, but I didn't want to be redundant.
I know, and I but that's what you said. That's what I'm trying to. I'm going back to everything.
It's an invitation.
You're riding the waves, Yeah. I'm when I was in Miami, I used to love surfing, and when you mentioned about the ocean, I love the ocean. Being from Miami, I loved going to the beach. I went to the beach all the time in the summer, and I was once okay. I guess was going to go in social media. I was born very pale, like whiter, and then as I got into the beach more, But I
feel like you've been consistently tanned for as long as I've known you.
I've been tan now since I was 8 years old, but I was lighter in skin by first grade. Like if I show you my first grade photo to second grade photo, I guess I'm going to put it up there. I'll find it. And you'll see I was a lighter skinned kid and then all of a sudden like 8th grade, boom, just dark as like I could get darker than this. But yeah, I just love your book. When your book and you gave me the invitation to and the honor. God's honor to be able to just, and I believe that's the spirit approach, how God got us together he led you to people.
Yeah.
And I responded quickly. I know I did. I was like, yeah, I'll help you.
I was like, Jesus, I don't know. Cause like, I feel like I'm not a person who self-promotes.
Yes.
I'm not a person who that's just not my personality nor my comfort zone at all. And so I felt like he said, market. And I was like, Jesus, you're funny because you know me really well. Like that's not me. And so I was talking with my publisher and he's like, we went over some options of like what this could look like. And I was like, and I created a website and I promptly deleted it because the Lord's like, I didn't ask you to do that. And I was like, okay, but like the launch team. And I was like, okay, we'll create a launch team and we'll see what happens from there. And yeah, you were like, hey, let's do this thing. And I was like, God, and he's like, sure, cool. Great.
Yeah, and as long as you're good, your publisher's good, then and obviously it is because we're doing it. But yeah, no, I was just like, yeah, it's relatable to me. You attracted me with the words, and then you mentioned on because this isn't your book, but I love this part is your experience. So you had some traumatic experience with the water, and you had swimming lessons, and then in your journey, but yet. You still found meaning behind the fascination of the ocean.
Oh, it's I love the like. Took my first cruise last year, which I don't know that I'll repeat.
Yeah, I'm going like on my fifth now.
Because I don't like entertainment, and maybe if it wasn't an entertainment cruise, I would love it. But I love the water. I love getting to go to the different cultures and experience all of those different things. Right. It's just like I'm a person who I wouldn't strongly dislikes being entertained 24/7 or being in an environment where that's what's going on. But
yeah, I can't party 24/7.
The water is so blue, and I was just fascinated. Yes. It's just so blue. But yeah, going back, I took swimming lessons as a kid for years, and I was the kid who never fully like submerged my whole face in the water. It was just like the front part of my face. I wouldn't put my head under. Mm-hmm. And then I had a traumatic experience in 6th grade where I was caught in a rip current, and felt like my life was going to be over unless God intervened. So
that's what that can be very traumatic if you don't understand how to go through it. You must have held your breath long enough to get through the current because you're being tossed around.
No, I didn't. No, and that's actually the story that's in the actual end of the book.
Well, let's not give away too much.
But no, I didn't.
Okay.
I had a conversation with God because I was like, God, I know that my life will be over within like 10 seconds if nothing changes. Yeah.
That is it's a perspective, and I've been through rip currents, but it's like we were trained hold your breath and just ride out the waves, and the thing with water and with the beach. And this is an analogy of like faith and how we go through the adaptability of water. Water can do a lot of different things.
Yes.
And it could be the most calming presence and then the most violent storm and waves that come in.
Yeah.
And think about our faith. And that's what I love about it is that when we go through a storm, the storm ends and it's calm again. Like I remember going through 1992 Hurricane Andrew, and it was devastating in Miami, and pretty much all the houses around our neighborhood was gone and ours was standing. But in the midst of that, like seeing a random playhouse here and trees down and power lines down, and when it was safe to come out, it was really bright and sunny. Like, wow. And for I must have been like 5 foot as an eighth grader, so 2nd grader as well, 7th or 8th grade. I flunked kindergarten, little fact. So maybe that's why I'm an older 8th grader, but maybe 3rd grader. I don't remember. It was like knee deep. I remember it was just but in that disaster, I was just looking at that weather and the calmness of the water. Because when you hear a hurricane, there's a lot of pebbles. Like, okay, so rocks are probably blowing into it, but you can hear also the rain at the same time. And the rain just sounds so hard and pounding on your house. And our home was boarded up to be safe from any things flying objects or whatever. But I couldn't see that storm, but I could hear it. And it was very scary. And then just to see no wind, nothing blowing anymore, and just this calm. I just feel like, wow, it brings me to the title of your book, just wading in the waves and just being able to take your course of life and how the waves can be really violent and then the waves can calm, and sometimes we go through those seasons of life. Like I could see some analogies with that, and I think that's pretty cool how God presented it, maybe without you realizing God presented it, but in a cool way. That's how I took it initially.
Yeah.
When you presented the book and took a launch team together to help you with this. And like I said, I try my best not to read too much because I love trying to do interviews and trying to get a main idea message and make people curious. If I give away too much and I read the book, guess what happens now? I'm going to give away too much. And now we got Spark Notes. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to give no Spark Notes. Like buy the book. That's it. That's the end of it. Buy the book, and it comes out on June 11th. Seriously,
it does. And I think going back to the why wading in the waves, like the whole theme of the book is kind of like you're taking a journey to the beach. So you have the table of contents, which is called Tide Times, and then each chapter is like the sand, the boardwalk, drifting, like undertow, like all of these different things. It's just tackling different topics. that we encounter in life, like grief and loss and shame and rejection and intimacy, belonging, relationship with God.
Wow. Yeah.
Because those are the waves. Like
that is
those
the
are the
waves.
waves of life. Those
Yeah.
are the things that keep coming in and keep coming in.